Hi, I'm Glenn, City of Island Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team. It's April 4, and this time we're talking about tying the Foam Grasshopper variant, where we're using a Beavertail body made with a foam cutter and some 2mm closed cell foam.
Okay, here's a little video we'll put together to show the foam rubber or foam grasshopper variant where we're using a Beavertail closed cell foam body. It's going to look like that there. What we're using is this cutter, a foam cutter, and it comes with a little cutter deal and then little foam or hard plastic thing that you use to cut the foam on right there. And then we'll use a size 4 Gamakatsu hook, some rubber legs, silly legs, and then some pearl chenille. It's kind of bushy like too, so pretty good. And then from a simple tool setup, this is pretty much the fly tying stuff that we usually have on hand. We've got the fly tying bobbin, I think it's by Bob Wright, and then these scissors. We got a bobbin threader, hackle pliers. In this case, we don't think we're going to need it. And then a couple of whip finish tools. We'll probably use this one because instead of doing it by hand, we'll demo it where we're using it instead because it's got a wider gap to get over the legs and the head when you're finishing the fly. And then we'll also have some super glue and some of this 5-second UV glue, maybe to build up the head portion to make it stick up a little, give it that popping sound. Okay, to start things off, let's go ahead and get the foam grasshopper, or correction, the Beavertail body made for this grasshopper variant. And there it is. All right. Very simple. All right. And went ahead and made 2 just so that we'll make 2 this round, so we'll have a match pair. Okay, so earlier we were talking about the Bob Wright bobbin. Well, in this case we wanted to use white, and we've already got the white Dacron thread right here ready to go, so we'll go ahead and use white because we want to match it with the pearl chenille. So first up, let's go ahead and put hook in the vise and let's get the thread base started. I'm just going to work the thread all the way down to pretty close to the hook bend. Just go right along the shank, get right down to the hook bend, right about there. Right, and then we'll go with the chenille. Actually, hold off on the chenille. We'll go with one of the rubber bodies. This is the Beavertail format, and it's going to sit right here, just where the hook bend starts. We'll lay the foam body, get it not tight yet. I'm just going to get it started here, get it in place. And now we have the tail sticking out, get the hook underneath. We'll go ahead and tighten it a little bit just to lock it in place. And then we'll bring the line just forward of the body now. Next up, we'll put the chenille. It's that pearl chenille, kind of bushy. And in preps for it, we'll kind of clear off this front portion of it so we have that tag end right here available. And we'll get it started. Just lay it on the shank here. And then we'll just In this case, we're going to wrap it around and take advantage of the peak tying vise versatility and wrapping. And then I'll just get it right here, this point, and then we'll stop. So about a eye or 2 eye lengths back is where we have stopped the thread, and we're going to tie it in. And we'll trim it. You just do a quick whip finish to hold the line, and then we'll take it back and just set it off to the side. At this point, we're ready to go with the next piece. But before we go there, I like using some super glue, or crazy glue in this case, and just laying it right on the underside. And what that does is it helps lock the, or at least secure the foam cell, or the foam body, to the chenille, and it doesn't twist as much, or it'll still twist on you, but pretty much holds it in place really well. All right, and then we'll go ahead and come back along the chenille and get it right at the second little narrow spot that you'll see. So you see how it narrows. So there's the first narrow coming from the back to the front, second narrow end here. What we'll do is just kind of bring the line there and start securing it, but not too tight yet. Just kind of want to get everything adjusted here, and then we'll start pulling tighter. Okay, that way we have a nice base so we can build the legs. All right. And then what this is for is to help tie it as well, to keep it from moving and whatnot. But in this case, we like leaving the head off, and we'll just snip that off right here. And what happens then is we'll lay some UV glue here, and that'll help keep the head up. And then that gives that extra popping sound, that gurgling or popping as you're working the fly. All right. Okay, so other than that, we're almost done. We just got to grab some legs, some city legs here. So I'm going to use 2 of them. We'll take the 2 lengths. I don't know how long they are. I think maybe about 4 or 5 inches or so. And then we'll just flip them over in half. And that way we have that cut in 2. And now we're ready to put the legs on. We'll just grab 2 of them. We'll just kind of lay it right on top just to secure it for now. Right here. And kind of flip it over a little bit here. Move it over. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. And we'll get the other 2 legs. Kind of loosen up on the line so we don't tighten up on the legs too much yet. We don't want to do that yet. We'll get the second set kind of in place. And then we can not tie it in, but mainly do some adjustments to get it to ride where we want it to. We'll just lay another base here. And what we kind of want to do is have the legs kind of sit a little bit high up on the body, just to give it some more of that wiggleness. We'll just kind of loosen up on the line here, and then we'll start clamping down on it a little bit more, secure it a little, and we'll leave in a little gap here, some thread that kind of gives it a little bit more separation. And then at this point, almost done. This is a homemade whip finish tool that we made, and the reason why we like it is it's got a wider gap so we can go over the head as well as the legs without having to. I mean, we can also do it by hand. The other way we do it is just do a normal whip finish by hand, and we can do it, but We also find that this works pretty good too, because all you do is get that extra gap and you're able to stay away from the legs. Okay, now let's go ahead and snip that off. And almost done. We'll lay a little super glue on top just to help secure that in place as well, and also give it a little waterproofness, I guess. Pretty liberal at that. We'll let it sit there, and while that's sitting, let's go ahead and build up a little UV spot right underneath the head. All right, and that's just going to help it stick up a little bit for you. And give it that extra pop. All right, so as that dries on the super glue piece, we got just need to trim up the legs and we're done. And here, what we'll do is, sometimes you'll see folks lift it up straight and just get an even cut. What we'll tend to do is we'll go forward instead, like this, and then cut. All right, and then what happens is the back is just slightly longer than the front. And that's it. There is the Foam Grasshopper Beavertail variant on a size 4 hook. And this is the one we used for bass the other day, and had a good time with it. Also caught some nice sized bluegill too. All right, give it a try. Simple tie, simple, effective. When the bass are hitting on top, well, guess what? They like this. It's a little bit bigger than what we normally use, so hoping to get some bigger bass maybe. All right, it's got some salad mixed in there. All right, another one. All right, number 3, hee. All right, cool beans. This one's got a little mark on them like someone bit them. Remember, these had some big ones here, so it's a nice size one. I like it. On the 2-weight. Here's another one. All right, nice. Holy cow. Did you see that? Straight out of the water, completely out of the water, eating a dragonfly. Alrighty, cool beans.